In the previous video, I shared why I made the decision to make games. Now it's not like I made the decision right when I was making that video. I have been thinking about it and trying for some time now, but never really getting too far and procrastinating on it for months on end. But now, as I'm really determined to see game development through, I thought why not share what I have done so far? Maybe you all can learn something from the mistakes that I made during my journey, and it will be a great summary for me as well. At the start, I had this firm belief that the best way to learn something is to buy a course and follow it through. So I did exactly that for a couple of months. I made some game and it was fun. It gave me some confidence. But later I realized that I am not really learning anything. The reason I didn't learn anything was not that the course was bad, but because I used to copy the instructor and never really understood how the thing actually works. Realizing this, I left the course halfway through and decided to make my own game and learn on the go during the development of that game. So I had this grand idea of making a 2D flying squirrel game. It will be like a RPG with the core concept being the squirrel will fly in a 2D environment. I tried to make a prototype of that idea, made a lot of changes to the idea as I was not able to implement the flying mechanism in 2D, and eventually gave up after a little while. After that, I realized that I was actually not getting anywhere and thought of seeking advice in the Discord community. I went and some of the people were great enough to suggest some things for me to do. I decided after listening to their advice that I should watch some tutorials again about Unity, as it had been a long time since I did that course. This time I made sure that I understood what was really going on, why I was adding this object with this object, why I was using variables and modifiers and all that stuff. Made this endless runner game by watching tutorial of Prakis. Again, for one more time, I decided to make my own game. But this time, I listened to the advice everybody was giving me. Try to copy games that have been made already. So I made a clicker game. For this, I learned art and used Sprite for the very first time and made one donut sprite as the object where the player will click. This is the end result. That is all I have done till now, which is worth mentioning, and with that it brings us to where I am now. You won't believe me when I say this, but I did all this during the span of 2 years. Some of it was because of my studies in the last year of high school, then college came up, but mostly I procrastinated a lot while following the course and when I was making my own game as well. To be honest, I never really put much effort into it consistently. Looking back, I learned that courses are not the best way to learn. They did help me in theoretical knowledge. I used to make notes while following the course, and it sometimes helps me now to use specific words for searches and stuff like that. I'm not against courses, don't get me wrong. But what I found that best way to learn game development is not to directly watch other people do it. Instead, try to understand the problem clearly. Do some research online about the problem on your own and try to grasp how things work and then implement it on your game. If that also doesn't work, then I will say you can watch tutorials. They are helpful actually. But first, try to do it by your own. I will see you next time, hopefully with a game that I have finished making, at least the prototype.